Folks, today I want to kick things off with a question. Why should a video game be made? Is it A, for fun, B, to express creativity, C, to send a message, or D, because heart disease is like really cool? Hey, don't answer too quickly. We're living in the year 26 ACQ right now. It's fine to take your time. Yes, I regret to inform you all that in this episode of Wade's Demo Disc, a survivor of Yo Noid relapses. I'm gonna be playing games made specifically to market food and drink, more commonly known as Advergames. I can't let myself worry too much though. I mean, if these games are anywhere near as good as their products are healthy, I'll be dead within the hour. Does that one just say Burger King? Well, I'm saving that for last. Maybe I should do it in the bathroom too. You gotta be safe when these guys are involved. Looks like we're kicking things off today with one that I actually have a little bit of knowledge on, and that's Pepsi Man. I think I discovered the game back around 2014-ish when I stumbled across its cutscenes online. And promptly reported it to the police. And you guys gotta understand, I haven't had a soda in half a decade at this point, but back in the day, I was Pepsi's bitch. I would drink like 3 or more cans of that sludge per day, and I have the doctor's notes to prove it. But despite all that, I've still never dared to play this game for myself. They already f***ed up my liver, who knows what this could do to my hands, or my eyes. Oh god, I don't know if I can do this. But I gotta give the people what they want. Oh, it's actually pretty fun. I don't like lying to you guys, so I do feel the need to say that I already knew there were plenty of people who claimed to like this game and didn't actually expect it to be awful or anything, but I also didn't want to fall for the joke. I mean, it's a frickin' Pepsi game. Why the hell would its praise be genuine? Having finally played it for myself though, yeah, it's decent, especially for having been developed by a child. And since I said I don't like lying to you guys, you know that's true. I also have sex constantly. Alright, I should probably try at least a little bit to explain what's going on in this game, but don't expect too much because there really isn't much. We play as the titular Pepsi Man as he saves various groups of people from a smorgasbord of Pepsi-related disasters, from a vending machine shortage to a party stuck on top of a burning building. What the hell do you expect Pepsi Man to do about that? Piss on it? The guy's diet is 100% Pepsi. I bet you that piss would be as good as gasoline. I digress. Pepsi Man has to save these people, so he runs to them as fast as he can. Unfortunately, nobody could be bothered to be anywhere but blatantly in the man's way, so he'll have to dodge around them while still keeping up the pace enough to make it in time. And that's really it. Just avoid obstacles to get to the end of a stage, sit through the world's most awkward video call, next stage. And with only 4 of them, none that outrageously challenging, that goes by pretty quickly. It took me less than an hour start to finish, helped in no small part by how unexpectedly generous the checkpoints are. From what I can tell, this one is expensive as all hell to get an authentic copy of, and I absolutely do not recommend doing that, but if you get a chance to play it otherwise, sure. I mean, why not, right? It's kind of funny, and it controls pretty well. Who could have possibly guessed that I wouldn't have all that much to say about Pepsi Man? Yep. Talked about Pepsi Man, told them how good it is. Checks in the mail? Hey, pleasure doing business with you. What? No, I'm not still recording. You think I'm some kind of idiot? Oh, Out of all brands to get video game tie-ins, M&ms are oddly prolific. You got your beach partying M&ms, you got your kart racing M&ms, you know I'm gonna end up there eventually. And of course we have our shell-shocked M&ms? Well, who better to teach about the horrors of war? Let's check out the story. M&ms, Minis, M, and the M&ms characters are registered trademarks of Mars Inc. or its affiliates. Jeez, pretty dark backstory, huh? So Red and Yellow are about to go on a tropical vacation when Red realizes that Yellow left, and I quote, the Minis in charge of the M&M factory. I now have many questions about how this universe works, but evidently little time for them because oh my god, I'm in a car. Does this candy have a license? He's causing a frenzy. Look at this carnage. It is madness on the street right now, and Yellow is just shredding all these boxes. You know, it's kind of funny. With this perpetual movement and all these boxes, I'm feeling a sense of familiarity. I'm sure it's just some weird wires crossing, but are you guys feeling that too? Well, after 3 levels of driving, I finally got to the factory, so let's see what that's like. No, you can't. No, You don't understand what you're doing to me here. It's Crash Bandicoot! Oh my god, you've gotta be shitting me. This is going to be incredible. Battle not with M&ms, lest ye become an M&M. And if you gaze into the abyss gazes also into you. I'm really not the kind of person to non-sarcastically use the phrase ripoff. Just in general. Every creative inherently brings something different to the table, even with remarkably similar ideas, and much of the greatest works ever created wear their influences boldly on their sleeves. M&M's Shell Shocked is a disgusting ripoff. I don't know if there's a frame of this gameplay I can't attribute to something else, and that isn't done worse than that original. To call the design amateurish is to call the sky blue. To declare plagiarism would be to receive no remarks from me. But, like, of course the game is shit, right? Nobody here could have possibly expected it to be good, so what's the big deal? I've played bad games before. Games that aren't fun. Games that make you angry or sad. M&M's Shell Shocked isn't like that. I felt what I can only describe as a malevolent omnipotence wash over me, as though I were staring over the edge of a cliff directly into the sins of all mankind. This is the height of humanity's hubris. And yet, what is there to do but to dive in further? Have you ever felt morally damaged for playing a video game? To make this is to sin, but then what is to play this? Or make a video including it? To expose others to its pathogens? A part of me has been forever sullied by this experience, and I know not whether I'll ever be whole again. Oh hey! It's Ribbit King! I love this game! His name is Scooter. Alright, let's get this done while my soul is still willing to stick around. M&M Shell Shocked is a shitty, bland, mostly piss-easy ripoff of Crash Bandicoot with nothing to be proud of. Maybe the cutscenes are occasionally kind of charming, or maybe the capitalism goblin is working his sick wiles on my once innocent brain. The three people that lent their voices here are all actually like 5-star voice actors, but instead of being impressed by that fact, I kinda just feel bad for them now. In total, the game has 8 levels, each with 3 zones, which are big enough that you might just call them levels instead. The back of the box sure does, because nobody cared. At least I have the camera POV of God to guide me through them. The boss fights range from a ripoff of Tiny Tiger's fight from Crash 2, to a ripoff of the chase levels with the timed TNT detonation from Ripperoo's fight in Crash 1 thrown in for good measure. I only wonder if the TNT crates have a bomb on them because they wanted to hide their theft a little more, or because they stole it from the Japanese versions of Crash. I'm going to have a f***ing conniption. The game's quality can be summed up succinctly by the fact that I came up with the idea of standing on the final boss's platform and skipping 90% of the fight, knowing for sure it was going to work. Boy, was it exciting to discover that. I found out after the fact that this 2001 PS1 game is actually a slightly modified version of M&M's The Lost Formulas from 2000, which was an educational PC game for young children. This re-release just removes all the learning elements, runs the cutscenes through a deep fryer, and places my first foot firmly into my grave. They made a shitty ripoff, removed the only part that provided any value to the world whatsoever, and released it again. The height of humanity's hubris! I feel like I should be angrier, or maybe sadder that I finished M&M Shell Shocked, but really I'm just kind of numb. I mean, this game goes so far beyond ripoffs, so far beyond cash grab, that it just becomes this cultural carcinogen, and there's nothing I can do about it. We just have to live with it and try to move on with our lives, just like any other terrorist attack. Son of a bitch, I was worried it was gonna be these 3. Alright, here we go. In late 2006, Blitz Games released 3 video games playable on both the Xbox and Xbox 360 made to advertise Burger King. Easily the most popular and memorable of those games was Sneak King. Believe it or not, I actually played this back then. I mean, the restaurant, citation needed, was selling them for like $4, so why wouldn't I? Dignity, self-respect, the presence of a human spirit. According to Wikipedia, they were originally meant for Xbox Live Arcade, but were considered to be of such high quality, they were instead moved to a box product. An opinion from the guys that sell you chicken with a question mark for $1 a dozen. Yeah, I should probably clarify that when I say I played this when I was younger, I mean I played it for like 30 minutes before I considered using it as a staircase extension, because this game is awful. As you may expect from the title, it's a stealth game built around sneaking around as this monstrosity in order to surprise some unsuspecting normies with the burden of Burger King. Why is it so important that he's not seen beforehand? That is a great question, but it's one for God because there's no answer here. Okay, there's gotta be something else to this, right? Sneak King is one of the most dull, monotonous games I have ever played. It follows a mission structure with a bunch of little challenges to do throughout the map, but it's the same thing every time. Maybe they ask you to approach a different way, do a certain amount within a time limit, or do it without touching a single Metal Gear cone, but it's the same exact thing every single time. The same mechanics, the same 3 or 4 food items, the same godforsaken touchdown dance. That man just died of hunger, King. What are you doing? It took me about an hour to beat all the missions in the first area, and there are 4 areas, so I'm gonna take a wild guess and say it'd take about 4 to 5 hours to complete. But at the risk of being too rude, that. Are you kidding me? I gotta get out of here. Now go, be with your Burger King brethren. In late 2006, Blitz Games released 3 video games playable on both the Xbox and Xbox 360 made to advertise Burger King. Easily the least popular and memorable of those games was Big Bumpin'. Over the 16-ish years since these games were released, I've probably had 4 or 5 very short conversations about Sneak King, which is maybe a sign that I'm hanging with the wrong crowds, but I can say with full confidence that I have never heard or spoken a single word about Big Bumpin'. And I think I know the reason. If you look closely at the box art, you'll soon realize that this is actually a biblically accurate depiction of hell. Oh, no wonder it didn't sell. So, as you're surely all dying to know, what exactly is Big Bumpin'? Well, it's a minigame collection, of course, all 5 of which taking place in a theme park comprised exclusively of bumper car arenas. It kinda reminded me of Fusion Frenzy, if anyone played that, and hey, what do you know, that checks out. Every minigame has the same controls of move with stick and boost with A, but the rules can change depending on what arena you're in. From worst to best, we've got number 5, Power Surge. You're supposed to touch a glowy spot to get points, and then bring them back to the goal without too many being knocked out of you by your opponents. Or you could just not, because why would you when you can just wait for the next one to spawn? Genuine garbage. I was offended by how bad this one was. Number 4, Own the Puck. When you touch the puck, it changes to your color. The longer the puck is your color, you get points. This mode had some potential, but I found that most of the time it just devolved into a cluster without much strategy. Number 3, Last Man Standing. Don't die. It's fine, I guess. Although I should mention that the AI are borderline unbeatable at this one. Look at this. Number 2, Shock Ball. I have no clue why it's called that, but one person is set to explode on a timer and can pass that burden off to someone else by bumping them. I actually liked this one. It's nice and chaotic, and it has genuine strategy, which is refreshing. And number 1, Bumpin' Hockey. Yeah, I mean, it's hockey, of course it's the best one. Guys, I don't want to break your hearts, but I don't think Big Bumpin' is that good. I know, right? Am I even alive? The good news is that while I didn't really have fun with it, I also didn't completely hate it. Compared to Sneak King, it's the goddamn Mona Lisa, but that's not saying much. I absolutely would not, under any circumstances, recommend playing the game alone like I had to. But if you get a group of friends over, Big Bumpin' might not be the worst. The bumper cars are just uncontrollable enough to add to the chaos, but not so uncontrollable that you feel like you're dead. Well, that is, as long as you don't have another Burger King game on the docket. In late 2006, Burger Blitz, god damn it, it's Pocket Bike Racer. You know, Mario Kart Wii is pretty cool, but I've just always wished that there were only bikes. Oops! What you see is what you get here. It's essentially a kart racer, just on bikes instead of carts. And oh, you know what I'm about to say. Yes, I did in fact play this one when I was younger. What can I say? I never miss an opportunity to be undateable. In addition to a standard time trial mode, we've got Cone Trial, which is just seeing who can drive through a certain number of cones the fastest. It blows. Battle Royale, which is pretty self-explanatory, and blows. And then both standard and hardcore races. I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but standard races actually have a kinda cool, unique unique mechanic that I haven't, to my recollection, ever seen in another kart racer. As you race, you'll find these little cones on the ground, and driving between them fills up your meter on the side a bit. All those little circles are the different items, and you have to save up your meter for the stronger ones. That's an interesting way to handle items in and of itself, but in addition to that, you can also spend your meter to get a short boost, which can help you take shortcuts, and you best believe that was my choice every time. It's nothing mind-blowing, and the items are annoying as shit, but hey, the bar is low here. I gotta take the opportunity to give a gold star when I get it. Oh, and hardcore races are the exact same thing, just with no cones and no meter. Despite praising the meter a bit, I wound up leaning towards hardcore for the sake of dodging frustration. Besides, with all the crazy items going off, how am I supposed to fully enjoy these garbage racetracks? First of all, there are only 5 of them, and one of those 5 is the generic oval. Second of all, and much more importantly, the layouts of some of them are just dangerously incompetent. And since I'm insisting on calling it a kart racer, well, number 5, parking lot. How does the oval have a blatant design sin? How do you even do that? Number 4, under construction. This is nonsense. This is purgatory. Over a decade and a half has passed, and yet I literally remembered the schizophrenic construction track. That's how severe it is. All these years, and it stuck with me how unbelievably bad you can make a racetrack. Number 3, backyard track. Real good work on the name, guys. I'm thinking of changing mine to Dead Inside person. Anyway, it's amazing how far being moderately less nonsensical than the previous track can get you. Number 2, Fantasy Ranch. It's a little boring and definitely too restrictive, so one of the best in the game. The only good one, the King's Garden. Sharp turns, soft turns, wide areas, cramped areas, a shortcut, nothing that actively pisses me off. I'd say that's a point for Pocket Bike Racer. Oh man, this is getting close. It should come as no shock that Pocket Bike is easily still my favorite of these 3 nightmares, but it's really astonishing how bad they all are. Guys, I've got an idea. Let's up, and then up, and then we can up. This whole time I've been grappling with the question of how hard I should be shitting on these games, and even after making my decision, I'm not entirely confident in it. None of them are realistically worth your time, but they were also sold at Burger King for $4, so do they need to meet any standards other than being playable for a couple hours on one afternoon after getting your meal? I guess that's for us all to decide individually, but personally, I think putting out a video game is expecting that it'll exist long after some fast food promotion. And besides, they still could have been much better, even with the meager amount of content each one has. Except for Sneak King. That basket of ass was toast from its inception, so don't go expecting a legless horse to jump. I think Advergames might just be my least favorite type of video game. So let's devote an entire episode to them. What could possibly go wrong? And why the hell did I start with Pepsi Man? Okay, I'll start off by eating the chocolate and ice cream, then we'll move on to the poison ivy and cacti. It should go without saying, but with the sole exception of Pepsi Man looking like something specifically up your alley, I do not recommend that you play any of these games. I only did this to myself assuming they'd be funny in an ironic way, but I didn't even get that. The funniest aspect of this experience was myself having to play them, so if you don't share in my masochism, please stay far away. I cannot wait to get back to playing real video games, and I am dreading the day I inevitably wind up back at this topic. What? You think a man who just experienced M&ms shell-shocked is in the mood for a comedic outro? Go home.